Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Horizon Forbidden West releases in less than 2 weeks, and many of you might want to replay Horizon Zero Dawn because of that. But do you remember everything? Don't worry, I got you. Here are 10 tips to survive your first days in Horizon Zero Dawn. First things first, let's start with healing. Horizon Zero Dawn has 2 healing bars. You have the red one, which is literally your health. When you take damage, this goes down. Simple. Fall damage, machine damage. If someone is trying to kill you, it doesn't matter, it will go down. You have also a green bar, which is how much healing you got. Now this is not existing out of potions, this is existing out of the berries that you pick up. Throughout this whole world, you have red plants. Most of these red plants are healing plants. They give you health. It's not much later on when you level up, when you basically get more skills, this will become more, and you will get the ability to carry more as well. But more of that later on. Basically, this green bar exists out of the berries. Now, like I said, it doesn't exist out of potions because that is a different thing. You also have 3 health potions in this game. You have the health potion, just the health potion, this is the casual one, the standard one, which restores 150 healing. You also have the full health potion, which literally restores all your health. This is, especially for later on in the game, really important. It's the best one you can have later on in the game, especially when you have more than 300 health. It will help more. And you have the third potion, which is the Fortify Healing. Basically, it's called the Health Boost Potion. Not my favorite. By far, not my favorite at all. I think it takes too much time to really pull this one. It's just not my favorite. If you go with potions, go for the full health. Or if you're below 300 health, I would say go for the normal health potion. These take a lot less to make. Well, the full health potion takes a lot more bigger meat. But later on I will tell you more about hunting. So yeah, that was health. Alright, now that we talked about healing, we're gonna talk about inventory space. Inventory space is so important in this game, and it's not even a joke. In the beginning of Horizon Zero Dawn, you start out with only 20 arrows. This is nothing. Absolutely nothing. You will use most of them in the beginning. It's crazy. When you upgrade your inventory space, however, you can craft for heal potions, traps, arrow types, more armor, more modifications that you can carry. The limit on what you start with is just nuts. It is really low. So do this as fast as you can. Now you might wonder, how do I do this? By grabbing everything that you can. You might need some metal shards for some upgrades. You might need fox hide, skins in general of animals. You might need trinkets for them. If you go to an upgrade, you can see what you need. There is fish bones, goose bones, skins, whatever. You might need it. Hunt whatever you can. It is not only for the skins but also for the meat, because then you can upgrade. You can upgrade your inventory, but you can also craft some potions. As I said before, it takes meat for that. Upgrade this as soon as you can. I can't stress this enough. This is so important. So please upgrade this as soon as you can and as much as you can. Now that we talked about healing and your inventory space, it is now time to take on your first machine. There is a total of 26 different machine types in the base game. I'm not talking about the DLC because I simply haven't played it yet. In the base game, however, 25 machines are standard. There is one type of category that is corrupted machines. I don't really value this as a total different category because it is the same kind of machines. However, with corruption, fire is really useful, so I guess mentioning it, well, I have to. There's also 2 types of Watcher, but basically they have the same weakness. But there's also 2 types of Bellowbacks, and now you would think like, oh, they have the same weakness as well? No. There's 2 different types. There's the Freeze Bellowback, which kind of hates fire. And you have the Fire Bellowback, which obviously doesn't, mind fire, but might need freeze or even shock to be taken down. Throughout the whole world, you will discover them, scan these machines, and find their weakness points. With scanning them, you also unlock their entry in your guidebook, which you can always open up and just look at the weaknesses. A shell walker is an electricity based machine, so don't use electricity on that. A freeze battleback, like I said, doesn't like fire, while a fire battleback actually loves it. There is different types of machines and different types of weaknesses. Be sure to look at them, be sure to scan, and always love the Tallneck, because they're your friend. Now that you know the machine's weaknesses, it is time to talk about ammo types and traps. There's 3 different types of traps in this game, and I'm not counting the kind of tripwires. There's a shock trap, which will literally shock your enemies. You have a blast trap, which is basically like a dynamite kind of trap, it will explode. And you have a detonating blast trap, which you basically set off yourself, like C4. There's also a few different tripwires, like a blast tripwire, a shock tripwire. Same thing, same, kind of concept. If they go over it, it's either exploding, it either shocks them, it's the same kind of deal. However, the arrow types is where it's at. Every arrow type in this game cannot always be, crafted or used on the same bow. There are different types of bows. And you start off with the hunter bow. Hunter bow is basically what you get at first. It's your first weapon. It can shoot 3 different arrows. You have fire arrows, which I love. It sets the enemy on fire if you do it long enough. It does damage over time, but if you keep firing and the meter basically fills up, sometimes machines will be stunned and they will kind of like ignore you for a second because they're too busy, trying to take out the fire themselves. It's great. It helps a lot, especially for machines like the freeze bellowback or corrupted machines. It's really useful. Use fire when you need to. It helps a lot. There's hardpoint arrows, which do medium damage, a little bit more than the average arrow. And you have the hunter arrows, which basically are your standard arrows. This is what you begin with. They do low damage, but fire really fast, and they don't take a lot of materials to make. Then you have the sharp shot bow, which has different types of arrows. The sharp shot bow has the harvest arrow, which basically removes parts from the machines. It doesn't do much damage, but if you need like scrap or anything and you don't want to take out the machine, this is basically an arrow that can really do it for you. You have the precision arrow, high damage, more damage than the hard point. It fires really slow, but it's worth it. Then you have the tear blast, and this is my absolute favorite, which basically does no damage, but it blasts off body parts. Now, especially for certain machines, it is really useful. A tonic gel, for example, has different kind of body parts that you can shoot off. However, some of these body parts you can use against the machine, especially if it's like a turret or like a kind of rocket launcher-ish kind of weapon. You can use this against them and it does high damage. It's wonderful. Use these arrows whenever you can, honestly. However, there is one more bow, and that is the war bow. Now, the war bow, I don't really use a lot. I need to admit, I actually forgot it was in the game. You have 3 different types of arrow on the war bow. You have corruption arrow, which basically, like any other game, turns enemies against each other. So if you shoot it with, at a machine, it will turn against other machines. Human, same thing, it will turn against his allies. You have the freeze arrow, which basically slows down enemies. Does damage as well, of course, but it freezes them, basically. And you have the shock arrow, which electrifies enemies. It's, again, I don't really use this bow, so this was all new to me. But it can be useful, that's for sure. So keep in mind in that there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of bows, there's a lot of arrow types, and there's a few traps. Use them whenever you can, because they will really help. Now there's one more thing you need to know about the machines, and that is that you can scan their paths. Scanning their paths can really, really help, especially when you want to take them out with some blast tripwire, or want to shock them, or maybe even freeze them. Honestly, it is up to you. but it can be also really useful for stealth. If you need to go out stealthy and you can find the machine and highlight his path, you might be able to just sneak out without it ever seeing you. I recommend, especially when you're new to this game, to try out this feature. It helps a lot. It basically introduces itself in one of the first missions as well. It is really helpful and you might need it, especially for certain machines like the Thunder Gel. If you want to take that down, it is good to know where he goes and where he, doesn't go, where you are safe. Always scan whenever you can, and if you want to, highlight their path. Cauldrons. Now, you might not know what this word means. Cauldrons are basically where the machines are made. These are really essential. With every cauldron that you unlock, you can override more machines. In the beginning of the game, you get both Watchers, Broadheads, Charger, Striders already unlocked, and of course the Tallneck. But since he is not really of use, I won't mention him much. Basically, throughout the game, you're gonna find more cauldrons. These side quests that you're gonna do, some people might actually tell you about a cauldron that they saw. Now, as a seeker, you are, allowed to go in, so you can learn this, this knowledge. Eventually, you get more and more unlocked with these cauldrons. However, be careful with them, please. On the screen right now, you see what you can expect in each cauldron. Again, not from the DLC. I know there's one more cauldron with the DLC, but these are the base cauldrons. The Zeta one is probably the most dangerous, especially since you battle the Thunderjaw. Be prepared, because you might die a few times. You might have struggles with it. If you want to learn more machine overrides, do these. But be cautious, because you can die just as easily. Throughout the game, you might forget that you have skills. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. In the base game, there are a total of 3 skill trees that you can explore. You have the Prowler, which basically focuses on stealth and combat, especially really useful for like silent takedowns, stuff like that. You have the Brave, which is direct combat and accuracy. I don't really use this one as much, but there is one thing that I really like of the Brave, and it's concentration. Basically, your focus, whatever you want to call it, it slows down time and gives you more time to aim, to basically, check for whatever you want. It slows down time. It's really nice. And you have the Forager, which is, in my opinion, the most important one, which focuses on passive skills, health improvements, and abilities. Really useful. You can really equip a skill that can give you a mount whenever you need one and don't have one yet. Originally, you can do that. Basically, you need to override a mount first and then you can call it whenever you can. But with this skill, for example, you can basically just whistle for one and it will come. It's really helpful, especially Forager. Like I said, it's really helpful. Take a look at these. They're on the screen right now, but take a good look when you're in game on what you want and what you won't, mind not getting. They're really helpful. Please look into them. It's really easy to forget about them. Now that you're not playing the main story or killing machines, you might be doing side quests. Side quests, errands, or whatever you can do them. Please, it is so important. But side quests in itself give you so much XP. Some side quests even give you special armor upgrades or anything like that. It is important, especially for the main story. If you do a mission of level 30 and you're only level 20, you will fail that. It is gonna be hard and it's gonna be difficult. Side quests are really important besides the main story, because you will level up. And with those levels, you can get more health. You can get additional healing bars. It helps a lot. Please do the side quests. One thing a lot of people also forget about is armor and modifications. Now, armor in itself helps a lot with resisting damage, stealth, or even just resisting fire or freeze. There's a handful of different armors on the screen right now. You see which ones I have. And you see also all the modifications. Well, most of them. It helps a lot to equip a better armor and also slap on a modification, because it can resist fire, freeze, electricity, corruption, damage. It can improve handling. It helps a lot. And the last tip I want to give you is to explore the game. The game is beautiful, it plays smoothly, and you will find certain secrets of the main story that you might not get when you don't explore. The game is gorgeous, many photos can be taken, many machines can be overridden, and there's a lot to just discover. You might actually find some pretty important info just throughout the game that can lead to understanding the main story more. Explore as much as you can because you will not regret it. I promise you, you will not regret it. Now, I hope these 10 tips actually helped out a lot. If not, well, let me know. Basically, I have a few more that I wanted to give, but I think 10 tips is just enough for now. Forbidden West releases in like less than 2 weeks, and I'm sure to make a tip guide on that game as well as soon as it comes out. I'm really excited for it, and I can't wait to play it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tip guide. If you did, of course, let me know. Hit that like, I guess. Either way, I hope it helped. And yeah, have a nice day. Nice night wherever you are. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.